Yo, yo. We are, again, technical difficulties. The phone won't go sideways on this new Creator app.
Ah.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Hope we're not making you sick.
Oh my gosh. Praise the Lord. How's that? Are we both kind of on there?
Hi.
We're
Hi,
really
Emily.
close. We're really close.
Watching from Pakistan.
Wow.
John.
Super awesome.
I
John.
love that.
What's up? This is cool.
Hello,
what up,
Paul?
Paul? Rachel Rowe in the house.
I would love how John from Pakistan, how did you hear about us? If you could put that in the comments, I would love to hear about that.
What up, Ryan? Haslett. What up, girl? What up, Vanetta?
Glad you guys are tuning in. And just like John put on there, if you're not our locals, if you could put where you're from, we love to see where you guys are from.
Yeah, we
kind
like
of go back over it. And last time we had some people from Canada and Alaska. And so anyways, it's just fun to see. Oh yeah, I know Emily's excited to be at the beach. That's awesome.
Yes, for sure. Especially because the storm has left. That is awesome.
Hi Rebecca, love you.
What up, Mel? What's going on, buddy?
I wanted to say, as you guys are watching, if you like... Ooh, I said the word.
We're trying to figure out the
Yeah.
algorithms. So
It's like a whole new world to figure out about all this live stuff and all the technicalities. But I was reading that instead of the this, if you put these,
like
if you put those instead of these.
if you scroll over this, it'll pop up another window. And if you hit those...
Yeah, there you go.
Yes! Yeah.
Yes. They like those. They like
This
those
is
better.
supposed to help it get spread out more so that more people get to view it. And really, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get this free life coaching into as many people as possible because we really feel like we have stuff to say about marriage and parenting and life in general, family.
Relationships.
Yeah. And each month we're going to do different stuff. And so if you want to do this one, you can do it to your friends, on your wall, on their wall, or the algorithm coach said the best thing to do is to do this inside Messenger, like specifically sending it to somebody who you think will get value from it, even on the replay.
Even though I like it on the wall too, just because other people can see it. Which, by the way, for those of you that don't know, our last video was at 3.6 thousand views.
Wow.
And so I know, compared to a lot of celebrities and stuff like that, that's not very much. But for just This Is Us people, that was so awesome. We were so pleased with that. And that is because you guys did this.
Yes, because it's not from our wall. It was all the other places around.
It couldn't happen without you guys doing that. And
yeah, that's about it. And we're kind of scrunched because, again, we said it at the beginning, but there was only about 4 people on then. We got a new Facebook Creator app that's supposed to let us put the This Is Us marriage.
Yeah, and you see it at the top. Isn't it cute? This is
Hopefully you
us
can
marriage.
see
If you can't read it, that's what it says. We're trying to get crafty and learn new things and make it better each time.
Yeah, every Tuesday night. This is like a little TV show, a little 15 to 30-minute TV show. But what we found out is, since this is our first one, is you can't turn it sideways. So we're scrunched together and we're a little tighter, which is kind of going to mess up some of the things we had going on tonight. But I always like being close. So anyways, enough jibber jabber. We're jumping into This Is Us coaching marriage section. There'll be 4 of these. We did one last week. This Tuesday is going to be part 2. And this one is about why it's so important.
No. Why are fingers so important in marriage?
Yes.
Aren't you guys curious? Who's curious? Chris Oliver's curious.
Why are fingers so important?
Does anybody have any guesses?
John Roll, don't
No,
do it.
yeah, we better not ask. We better not ask.
I have all the same ideas though, so I get it. We can go in many different places, but this is going to be legit. And we're just thankful and honored that you guys are tuned in with us. So we're going to jump into it. That way it doesn't go too long. But why are fingers so important in marriage? Well, they're very good at pointing out your partner's problems.
Should I use my finger?
Oh boy. Oh my gosh. Can you believe that in the whole entire state, this is the only one we could find? 'Cause all the Alabama ones were sold out.
My family barely let me bring this in the house. But
Yes, we worked on it. We tried to not do it. We tried to cover it, but we said we're just going to own it, work through it. Alabama, Auburn, pointing fingers. It's the problem. And what happens is when you point, it seems like you're on different teams. And last week we talked about marriage coming together where we're on the same team, and what we're really up against is opposition or circumstance. And so when you point, it's really like we're on two different teams. And so what ends up happening is when you start pointing out your partner's problems, you know, you never cook me the right meal.
you never tell me I'm pretty.
Oh, please. You never do the chores right.
You never make the bed.
You never put the toilet seat down, which would be for me.
You leave your clothes on the floor all the time.
You never hang your towels up.
You don't take me on any dates.
You don't plan ahead for anything. Everything's got to be spontaneous.
You never stick up for me.
You never are nice to me.
I'm
man.
sure you guys can think of some more.
Yes, because the list literally goes on and on and on. And when we're pointing out each other's problems, this is absolutely the destruction, the dance of destruction, pointing out each other's problems when we should be having a dance of romance. Woo woo!
That's
The
good.
dance of romance
That's good.
lets us ebb and flow together where we get into a rhythm. Whoa, and we enjoy it, and it's good, right? Instead of being on opposing teams, conflict, butting heads. Because with the pointing, I'm trying to point out all of her problems that I want her to fix. She's trying to point out all of my problems. Oh, I can't even see myself. Point out all of my problems that she wants me to fix. And so what ends up happening is nothing.
Yeah, I have chronic blaming is a form of emotional abuse
Oh, that's good.
and ruins intimacy.
Yes. And for us men, we love the intimacy.
Chronic blaming is a form of emotional abuse. I thought that was so good.
Yes, for sure. It is. Don't forget. And so when you are doing those things, then that becomes the blame game, the pointing the fingers. You never do, you always do. You know, we just really go round and round with the same thing. And what ends up happening is a year goes by and you feel like you're on different teams. And then you start to slowly separate where you're like, oh, you like people used to say this when I would hear them at the car lot in Tulsa. I'm glad to be at work because I'm away from my wife. Like those kind of things come out when you're constantly pointing at each other and blaming each other. Like the last thing in the
Maybe
world.
you guys didn't see my pointer.
Last thing in the
Pointing.
world I want to do is be away from my wife and my family. Like that's my time. That's my jam. That's my life. That's where energy comes from. But that's because we're on the same team.
And blaming avoids taking responsibility. As long
Boom.
as you're blaming someone else, you don't have to take responsibility and say, what is my part in all of this?
Yes.
Even if what they're doing is jacked up and
Yes.
there's validity to what you're saying, it's still We can't control it. We can't change it. It just frustrates us. It's, what did I say? Chronic emotional abuse.
Mm-hmm. The blame game.
The blame game. So that's not helping any intimacy. So just take some time and reflect and say, what part do I have in this? Instead of throwing the big finger out.
Yeah, because when you're pointing like this a lot, it ends up turning into this a lot.
I know
and
you
that's
guys
really
have never
what
done
happens.
this
It's really what
to your
happens.
mate.
Yes, that's what happens though. This finger.
Subtle disrespect, which I don't even think this is subtle disrespect.
No,
but
it's brutal.
You people, some of you do it. We used to do it all the time. So
Totally.
we're getting lots of those for that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And we didn't ever just give the finger. It was all verbal assaults. Totally. Mostly from my side though. And again, those are little arrows that get dropped.
Subtle disrespect to a relationship. It's a killer of a relationship. Those subtle little disrespect things all along the way. Like, for instance, like we said, this finger turns into this finger. And then when that gets old, you start thinking of other things. Like, for instance, I would get so mad, I would take my ring off and shove it into my food and smash it in there.
My food on my plate, though.
They're like, what do you think about that?
Yes.
Disrespect.
We had
Subtle disrespect over and over again. Yes.
Yeah.
It may seem small at the time, so you brush it off until you can't anymore. And like he said, it just keeps building that wall, building that wall.
Separation. Mm-hmm. Like we're on two different teams, Alabama and Auburn, right? That's how it goes, but really we're not. So, and that was on the last one if you want to check that out. And so what does all that mean? Because we're going to wrap it up. We're going to try to keep them between 15 and 30 minutes tops. So why is it so important? Because it's not supposed to go from this to this, right? That's not the goal. That's digressing. That's the destruction dance. The romance dance is what we're trying to do. So what's romantic, what's manly, what's the part of the man as the leader is to start off and take that finger and point it at yourself. Point the finger at yourself. I know it's hard to deal, it's hard to take, but the number one key in a healthy marriage, besides communicating, is taking responsibility for yourself.
Don't be a blameaholic.
Ooh, blameaholic. That's a fresh one.
Yeah. Don't be a blameaholic.
Blameaholic. Yes, so the manliest thing to do, the most romantic thing to do, is to point the finger at yourself, take responsibility for yourself, and that takes ownership, that takes responsibility, that takes humility.
Yeah.
Big stuff, big
Not being
words.
overly critical.
Yes. And so what that looks like, that dialogue goes like this, is that, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for myself. So instead of pointing out all of my wife's faults, I'm going to look at myself, and this is going to be my dialogue with myself. Am I doing the best that I can do to meet my wife's needs? Am I doing everything within my power to make my wife feel like a queen? Am I doing everything within my power to ease the load of the house on my wife? And so when we start having
schedule.
and vice versa for each other. So when you start having that dialogue with yourself, when you're not pointing at you in the mirror, now that dialogue starts to open up reality. It starts to open up energy. It starts to open up the forces of the universe to bring you together onto the same team, because now you are responsible for you. And how that works is, I now am no longer selfish. Big words tonight, big words. And so when I'm trying to meet her needs and meet her desires, then what I'm doing is I'm laying myself down for my wife. And then when she does the same thing for me, dude, it's explosive. It's revelatory. It's amazing. You literally, your relationship goes shh, like it's on nitrous. And so again, those dialogues look like that. But here's the key that we're going to leave you with, right?
Oh, I don't know. We're already leaving a key.
You got some more?
Well,
Give them some more.
Okay, acknowledge accomplishments. Not all need a champagne toast, but some do. So say they do a gazillion things wrong throughout the day. A lot of people are like, I really have a hard time thinking of anything positive. But, I mean, literally, when we started making a shift in our marriage, yeah, this is a good thing to do while we're live or up to an hour afterwards. It seems to go further.
Please.
That's another thing that we learned. So please do that if you think anybody would think that this was useful. Now I'm off my point.
I know, I was just trying to slip it in. I didn't know you were going to start talking.
Yeah, the accomplishments. Acknowledge accomplishments. We would lay in bed, and sometimes, especially in the very beginning when you have a lot going on, it's hard to think of something. But
especially when you haven't ever done these things before.
Yeah, it feels so foreign. We were sitting there and
Weird.
like, okay, we're purposely thinking. We would end the day every night and be like, I really enjoyed the way you looked at me at this time. I really enjoyed the way you said this in front of this person. How you stuck up for me in this situation. I really enjoyed the way you got your teeth brushed this morning. I mean, think of something, ending the day on a positive, even though they messed up on 100 things. Just share the one thing or two things that is highlighted to you that you can pick through the day. It goes a long ways, and then they do it back to you. So you just end your day complimenting each other.
And just start. Like, even if it's one thing, like, start off with one thing. Like, you know, typically I bring my coffee to her in the morning, and this morning she brought me coffee. And it was like, oh, super nice. Right?
Yeah, it's not a checklist like, well, I do it for you one day, you do it for me the next day. It's just
it's
organic flow. Yeah.
It's a romantic rhythm where your life starts to ebb and flow with each other because we're one and we're on the same team and we're going the same direction.
And another reason why fingers are so important in marriage, for those of you that weren't tuning in the beginning, we discussed pointing fingers at each other leads to
the middle finger
at each other. And then you want to do it?
I was going to do this.
This is the finger we should be holding up right here.
Number one fan.
That we are each other's number one fan.
I am her number one fan.
Number one.
She's my number one fan. And so when you're rolling with number one fan status, you're back to that Team Bevilacqua, back to winning even when it looks like we're losing. You know, you start to bounce back to that because we are each other's number one fan. I can't look at this anymore.
Yeah. So next time you're pointing at each other, start thinking, oh, I'm doing that blame game thing. I'm being a blameaholic. I'm doing that subtle emotional abuse thing. I need to think about how can I be the number one fan in this instance. Fans represent support, excitement, and loyalty.
Ooh, girl, you've been doing your homework.
Isn't it crazy how crazy fans can be? I mean, they go all out, cheering each other on. So when you think about, man, we do that for a football team. We don't know anybody on that team. But for the most intimate relationship that we have in our life,
so good.
We aren't each other's biggest fans a lot of times.
So good.
So how would that look if we just went in there and wasn't for our team at all? We didn't shout. Like, say you're on the football field and they're playing their game and nobody's in the stands, nobody's cheering, the energy is just flat, or there's accusations like their energy, the vibrations, the good vibes, the love vibes. Yeah, there's so much going on in all of that when we're encouraging each other's. True fans never stop cheering for their team. They are sold out for them. We want you guys to be thinking to be sold out for each other.
Yes.
You know, I always hear that word over and over again. Marriage is so hard. Marriage is hard work. And I see where they're going with that, but I just feel like we should shift our mentality to think Marriage is so simple. It really is so simple. We make it hard.
Yes.
But it is so simple. Just to try to outlove each other and be each other's number one fan and encourage each other, support each other, have excitement, loyalty, be sold out for one another.
Yes.
Because you know why? Finger pointing is pointless. Boom.
Oh, that was awesome. That was
Finger
really
pointing
good.
is pointless.
That's awesome.
Yes, that's
I
a
love
good
it.
word. And we wanted to give this away because you know this is not going to last in my house. But because we're amateurs, we don't know what we're doing on this thing. We don't know how to do a giveaway on here. So can you guys think of any way that we could give this away? Or is there any Auburn fans out there that would just love to have this thing? We will send it to you.
Just write down in the comments what you
are
think we
some-
should do,
yeah,
how
what
we
are
could
some
figure it
ways?
out, and we'll make it happen. And we're going to respond to every single comment, and we appreciate everyone, all of those things. So our call to action here at the end, finger pointing is pointless. And when we point at ourselves and we take responsibility for ourselves and we decide that we're going to
Be on the
same
team.
team, be each other's number one fans. And how that dialogue starts is you first have to ask your wife or ask your husband or your partner, what are you expecting? What do you want
desire?
from me?
What do you
What do
need
you
from
desire?
me?
What are your values here? What can I bring to the table? And so when you open that conversation up, which you should do tonight, what do you want? Now we have it on the table.
And for a man, you might need to write it down.
I totally do. Or Siri, or notes on the phone. And then you can start doing those things. Like, because she's going to tell me, or I'm going to tell her, and now we're each other's number one fan. We're taking responsibility. So now I'm going to say, okay, this is what she's told me. So now I'm going to meet her needs the best of my ability. Are we going to fail? Of course. Is
Do
it going to
we
be
fail?
Of
Yes.
course. Is it perfect? Well, I don't know.
And that's
It's
not
pretty
what this
close,
is about.
But
That
that's
we're
not what it's
perfect
about.
and we're not growing. And this is actually awesome. This is just us having the conversation, which having the conversation is like more than half the battle.
Yeah.
It's just being aware, and we still need to be aware. So we're not
Totally.
saying we do it right all the time. We have come a long way, and we've got even more to go because it can just get richer and richer, which is hard to believe. But I mean, I didn't even know that this marriage I have today even existed for anybody. I had never seen something like this modeled. So just know, no matter where you're at in your marriage, it can get better. There's
Yes.
always more. There's always a deeper level of intimacy.
Yes, totally. So that's what we've got for you today. This is us life coaching marriage section part 2. Share it with your friends. Do all the stuff. Comment. Go back and forth. Be engaged. Help us get this out to as many people as
Yeah,
possible.
for those of you that weren't on, 3.6 thousand views on our last one. We were super excited about
Yeah,
that.
it was
so
amazing.
it'd be great if we could just continue to do that and get it out to as many people.
Yeah, we had people inboxing us that we've never talked to before and just telling us how encouraged they were and how real and raw it was and how right on time what they needed. Like, that's
Because
life.
it's simple.
That's
It's just
life.
the simple things.
Yeah.
Again, we didn't have to come up with anything that's super deep and profound. It's the little simple things that build, and then you think you can't make it through. But we've seen time and time again.
Totally.
They think it's over, it's done, but it's just a few simple changes that can make all the difference
Yes.
as you continue forward.
That's it. Well, we love you guys. Take responsibility. Be each other's number one fans.
Yeah.
Don't be blaming. Don't be pointing. Number one fan. We love you guys.
Pointing, what did I say? Pointing is
Pointing is
pointless.
pointless.
Don't forget it. We love you guys.
Pointing is pointless.
This is us.
This is us coaching. You guys are the bomb. We love you.